Hello, Gemini. Welcome. Take a seat and relax. There is nothing you need to do in this present moment except to relax and enjoy your reading. And to start your reading off, we have card number 3. Divine Influence card. This card tells you to not give up, to keep going. You are being helped, Gemini. Alright, so this scene in the office is when Dunder Mifflin their branch was going to get closed down. They were going to get shut down. And so Michael and Dwight decided to do something about it. So they waited outside of David Wallace's house so they can have a word with him and try to convince him to not shut down their branch. But David Wallace never showed up. They were waiting. They were there. They decided they wanted to do something. They chose what to do. They acted on it. But David Wallace never showed up. And at the end of this episode, they got a call saying that the branch was saved. And they were surprised. They were like, did we do it? How did we do it? But they really didn't do anything, right? There was circumstances outside of their control that saved their branch. So their branch was saved, but not because of anything they had to do with it, not because of anything they had in control over. So this is what divine influence is. Okay, things that you are not in control over, but life helps for things to happen. And their effort mattered still, though, to create that magic. So they had nothing to do with it, but they were very focused, and they acted and tried to do something. And that is what matters. So just be you, do what you do, and trust in your magic. Act on whatever you think could help, even though it might have nothing to do with what's going on. So this is saying that you are being helped. Just keep acting on it, keep being you, and things will turn out the best way possible. Wow. And look at this starting energy that we have. I start with the Magician. There's literally trust in your magic, right? This is the Magician, and he is accompanied with the 6 of Pentacles, which is so the 6s are the element at its best. So not perfection, but it's at its best, right? Pentacles are of the things we can see, are material things, right? Things that we have, like our human body. So imagine the pentacles, the things that you can see, everything around you, this whole earth that we can see. Imagine that at its best. Okay, what is it at its best? Well, it's including everyone. We see this man here who has more than what he needs, and he gives to the ones that are in need. And that's the cool thing about nature, right? Everything is kind of in a flow to where somebody's trash is somebody else's treasure. Take trees, for example, right? They release oxygen. Guess what? We need oxygen. So the tree's trash, the trash is trees, the tree's trash, which is that oxygen that it gives out, right, is our treasure, that oxygen that we breathe. And then our trash, which is, what is it, carbon, whatever we release, and that helps the trees, So it's a little circle of giving and receiving, right? Like Joey's speech for Phoebe's wedding and Friends. It's all about giving and receiving. Okay, and this is the 6 of Pentacles. And the Magician. Okay, the Magician creates. Look, he has the sword, he has the cup, he has the pentacles, and he has the wand. He is in control of the 4 elements. This is Avatar. This is Avatar Aang. He can create anything he wants by combining these 4 elements. Right, to better understand the Magician, we gotta look at the card that's in front of it, which is the Fool, right? The Fool isn't skilled at anything, but the Fool has an attitude of willing to try anything and willing to explore any adventure, right? Even though the Fool might not be good at it. It's a fool. He's a fool. He doesn't know anything, right? But ready to tackle any adventure. And when the Fool starts tackling adventures, he finds adventures that he likes and that he enjoys, and he starts doing them over and over and over again. And eventually the Fool becomes the magician. The Fool loves something so much, does it over and over again so much, that he becomes skilled at it. So this is the skilled magician. This is the skilled Fool, is what the magician is. Able to create, able to bend, materials to his will. And look at, especially this energy compared together. Like, how cool is that? Look at the magician is here creating things, and he's sharing it with the ones in need. What a beautiful earth that would be if we had more people like this. We are the world. Wow. And innocence. Cool. Loving this energy. We are the world. So what we're talking about, 6 is the energy at its best, right? The element at its best. So here we have the 10 of rainbows, which is the 10 of pentacles. Okay, the 10s are the result of this long journey. They're the result of the ace through the 9. And then the 10 pops out. It is the result of all of that hard work, all of that doing things over and over again to create new skills and to share the people around. Like, how cool this, look at this cool little story. The magician gets good at something and he starts doing it over and over again, and it gets really good at it. And then he shares it with people that are in need. And then look at that. Now nobody is in need. We are the world. Everybody is here together, knowing that they all have a place in this world. And that is the result of this magician's hard work, of the Fool's hard work, right? From the very beginning. And it makes it complete. Right? Just like we were talking about us and trees, the things we don't need, other people need. So why not just give it to them? Right? Everybody working together for life to keep on happening. Right? Kind of like the birds or the bees and the flowers as well, right? The flowers create this pollen thing that bees need. Flowers don't need it, so bees take it from the flower. And this helps the flower pollinate. This helps the flower to create more flowers. They help each other out. And you can see this literally in in everything in nature, except for humans, because apparently humans are all about taking. Innocence. See, and this feels like more of that result that we have going on here, when everybody knows that everybody has its place, and everybody who has more than what they need share it with the ones that are in need. Innocence, number 19, this is of the major arcana. So the cool thing I really like about this card is, when I first say the word innocence, what comes to mind? To me, comes to mind a child, an innocent child, like the Fool over here. An innocent child that tackles anything with adventure and wonder and joy. And when people become adults, when people grow up, they carry these traumatic experiences with them, and they lose that innocence. But there's no child here. There is an old man. And I think that's literally the whole point of this card, is that you don't turn into adult. You don't turn into an old man. That child always is. You are always that child. And that's why I think it's important to have children around you, because it reminds you of that innocence that you had at one point, that you might lose when you become an adult. It's important to keep that innocence with you, right? At every stage in life, when you're a child, a teenager, an adolescent, an adult, an old person, they all have something to teach. It's not that you become better. It's just that each of these stages in life, you see the circle from a different point of view. Right? You see the circle from a different point of view. All of these different colors. Are any of these colors wrong? No, they are just expressing a different part of the circle. So same with babies, same with adults, same with teenagers, same with old people, same with the elder. It's not that you get better and better, it's just you see life from a different angle. So it's important to keep in mind each stage in life and to take with you the things that you learned during that stage. So as a child, you learn about innocence, about tackling adventures with joy and wonder. And I don't see adults do that very often. I see adults just doing what they know because they don't want to tackle new adventures with joy and wonder. Right? I see adults carrying their traumatic experiences with them, and now they are scared. They won't, imagine when you see a puddle, what do children do when they see a puddle on the street? Well, their innocence tells them to go and jump in the puddle, because how fun is that, right? But as an adult, you say, well, that's going to get me wet, and I don't want to get wet like that, because now I have to go change my socks, and I don't want to mess myself up, and Soul Man doesn't have that, and it's important to learn how to keep that innocence within you, keep that inner child within you, because that inner child never goes away. He just gets older. That's it. And it's not that we turn into something else. We just have become a kid that has experienced more and more and more. Prince of Swords and the Two of Discs. There's a lot of pentacle energy here. Interesting. Divine influence, right? Maybe you're thinking how this world is on fire. How can I help? Well, this divine influence card is saying you can help by creating something that you love and sharing it with those in need, right? By keeping that innocence within you instead of becoming that adult, which is the reason why things are going so wrong in this world, because everyone turns into adults, and apparently you can screw anybody you want over when you become an adult. Because it's bad to screw children over, right? But apparently it's okay to screw adults over. And eventually it turns into it's okay to screw children over too. So we don't want that. So we can help by being ourselves, by sharing our love, sharing the excess that we have with those in need, and by treating every single thing with that innocence, because every single little thing has its own place in this world. And the Prince of Swords, he goes and does that. And we have change here. This is the change that's going to happen. This is the change, right? You just focus on the change within yourself, and the divine and the things out of control will help you out. We can't control what other people do, but we can control how we act within ourselves. And Prince of Swords, I kind of want to read a little bit about that Prince of Swords from this Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot book, which I 10 out of 10 recommend and absolutely love. So the swords are of the mind. So the swords are the thoughts that you're thinking, right? The mind likes to make a story out of the things around us because it helps it interpret what's going on, helps it understand. That is why back then, fairy tales and folklore tales and mythology stories, right? They're all stories, but they are stories because that's how our mind best understands things. So there's a truth in all of those stories that we can figure out for ourselves. Prince of Swords, Heir of Air. It is easy to be deceived by such people, for the manifestation itself has enormous potency. It is as if an imbecile offered one of the dialogues of Plato. They may in this way acquire a great reputation for both for depth and breadth of mind. An earlier version of this card paints a kinder, gentler picture of the Prince of Swords and the arch fairies who draw his chariot. The final version is full of mad, seemingly futile movement. The geometrical wings of the prince and the children are enclosed in bright yellow bubbles, air of air. The children pull the chariot irresponsibly in any direction that takes their fancy. They are not reined, but perfectly capricious. The chariot, consequently, is easy enough to move, but quite unable to progress in any definite direction, except by accident. This is a perfect picture of the mind. Like a madman whose brain creates only to destroy, we see the prince with the sword in his right hand, with which he creates ideas and images, and the sickle in his left hand, with which he immediately cuts them down. So the prince is with his sword in his right hand, with which he creates ideas and images, and the sickle in his left hand, with which he immediately cuts them down. Right, this is talking about your mind, right? Another way to explain this is how do they tell you to use your mind? Like, especially if you have anxiety in that mind and that thought just keeps, they tell you to see it as a passing cloud, right? They see you as a passing car. That's what that means. Creates ideas and images and then immediately cuts them down. And then you let that car pass by. You let that cloud pass by. It sounds like madness, but we are doing the same thing every moment of our waking lives. When the mind is given a creative outlet for this process, such as music, literature, or filmmaking, we discover great genius. Mozart and Mendelssohn were Prince of Swords, as were the great film directors D.W. Griffith and Federico Fellini, and the visionary Emanuel Swedenborg. So I don't know many of those people. And Crowley heaps great praise upon the pure intelligence of the Prince of Swords, but he cannot avoid discussing the futility of thinking about thinking. He is full of ideas and designs which tumble over each other, he points out. He is a mass of fine ideal unrelated to practical effort. So all of this work, all of this creativeness, all of this sharing, and all of this innocence is going to help that mind change a little bit. And just that one little change is going to help everything else. It's going to help the world. So focus on you. Focus on how you can create this, how you can share this, and how you can keep that innocence of that inner child. Because mind is ruthless, but it is also a creative genius. How do you want to use that mind of yours? And I think we'll only get one card out of this Office Oracle deck. Cool. I like this. I like this to end this reading. This is card number 20. Hope grows in the dump. It is about the lotus flower blossoming out of the mud. Right? Hope does not exist in a perfect world. In a perfect world, there would be no need for hope. In a perfect world, no one would ever feel or know what hope is. If you wish to experience and explore the crazy, wonderful feeling of hope, then one must go to the dump. If you wish to test your strength and see if you would choose hope over despair, then one must go to the dump. The dump is where you will find hope. In the dump is where the lotus flower blossoms. And I hope this reading helped, Gemini. If it did, please help me as well with a like, a comment, and subscribe if you would like to keep hanging out, as this is a safe place where we try to figure life out together. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.